Hi everyone again, this is Andy Nicol, the course tutor for the Perfectly Spoken Advanced course. And this is lesson 50 in the course, which is a review lesson. It's review number 10, and we'll be covering the language from the lessons, the last few lessons, lessons 46 to 49. As always, it's a level C1 lesson, that's on the Common European Framework. Advanced level, and of course, again, more or less IELTS 7.5. Okay, so the first thing that we looked at in lessons 46 and 48 was the passive. So we'll start with the some general passive structures. So it's a review of the passives, review of the vocabulary from lesson 47, which was language of travel, journey, trip, etc., adjectives to describe destinations and so on. And then a review of the vocabulary we did in the last lesson, lesson 49, on food preparation and cooking. Okay, so first of all, the passive. You're going to see some sentences, and I'd like you to think, what would these be in a passive structure? These are active sentences. So we've got a football match going on here, and reporters, journalists, reporters asked the manager, the football manager, for his post-match reaction. What did he think about the match, how his team played, etc. So reporters asked the manager for his post-match reaction. If we start with the manager, how could we make this into a passive? Of course, it was asked for his post-match reaction, and if we deem it necessary, we can say by reporters. Okay, but it might be obvious in the context, in which case you don't need to put it. Okay, number 2. I hear the company are going to fire him for embezzlement. Embezzlement means stealing money from the company you work for through fraud and so on, or just plain theft. I hear, and if we want to make this into a passive, we can change it to the person. So I hear he is going to be fired for embezzlement. Okay, this is he's going to be fired for embezzlement. Number 3, people are out walking in the forest or whatever, and they see some footprints on the ground and say a bear might have made the footprints. It's a possibility. A bear might have made the footprints. If we want to focus on the footprints, we can say the footprints might have been made by a bear. The footprints might have been made by a bear. His decision really surprised us. His decision really surprised us. Again, we can use a passive here and start with we. We were really surprised by his decision. This is kind of like fronting. So we're putting the information, we want to focus on our surprise at the decision, so we put it up front using the passive to give it emphasis here. Okay, number 5. Dave and Rita have asked us to help them move house. Now if we want to focus on us, we can say we have been asked by Dave and Rita to help them move house. We have been asked as present perfect in the passive. Okay, now some more passive structures, some advanced features, and then a little later we'll look at have and get something done. So They say that he will be the next Prime Minister. It is said that he will be the next Prime Minister. Okay, this is the structure. It is said, it is thought, it is believed that. Here it is said that he will be the next Prime Minister. We prefer to use a passive rather than use subjects like someone, people, they, etc. Very vague subjects. We prefer to use the passive. People believe that he will introduce a number of reforms, the same Prime Minister. It is believed that he will introduce a number of reforms. Number 3. They were about to give up buying the house when a bank finally offered them a mortgage. Well, here, the initial subject is they, and then we've introduced the bank. So to avoid a change of subject in the middle of the sentence, we can use a passive and say they were on the point. Sorry, I've changed it from about to on a point of. Well, about to give up buying the house when they were finally offered a mortgage, or they were on the point of giving up buying the house when they were finally offered a mortgage. About to and on the point of are synonyms. The company have laid off, have made redundant a further 300 employees. So the company are obviously going through some kind of economic difficulty or restructuring, and they've decided that they want to employ less people. So the company have laid off a further 300 employees. We can focus on the employees here and say a further 300 employees have been laid off. Someone told her that she had to be early for work the next day. Again, as I said, we prefer not to use subjects like someone in a sentence. So we can focus on her. So we can say she was told that she had to be early for work the next day. We don't know by whom. Possibly a co-worker or her boss or whatever. Okay. Next one is on the area of to have or get something done. My teacher ordered me to finish the exercise. So get blank ordered my teacher. Get the exercise done ordered my teacher. Okay, so when you're giving an order, get something done, get the exercise done, ordered my teacher. Here we use get and not have in this situation. My mum's hair is being cut at the hairdresser's. My mum's having or getting her hair cut at the hairdresser's. Remember, having is slightly more formal than getting. Okay. Number 3, the computer technician finally came and repaired my PC, my personal computer. I finally got my PC repaired. Finally got my PC repaired. Get something done here in the past. Got my PC repaired. Number 4, my wallet was stolen in town yesterday. Okay, so this is an unfortunate thing that's happened to you. And when it's something bad or unfortunate that's happened to you, we prefer to use get rather than have. It's not something that you wanted to happen. You didn't pay somebody to do this for you, like a service, like some of the other examples. This is an unfortunate incident that happened to you. So I got my wallet stolen in town yesterday. Number 5, I will have finished the report by the end of the week. Again, we can use get plus participle to talk about completing something or finishing something. So I will, after we'll use the infinitive, of course, get or have the report done by the end of the week. I'll have it done, or I'll get it done by the end of the week. I'll have completed it. Okay. And now we want to turn to the lesson 47, which was on the language of travel. First of all, the confusing words: travel, trip, journey, voyage, and break. So the first one, there's a picture of the Palace of Westminster, the Houses of Parliament in London, with the tower. It used to be called St. Stephen's Tower, but I don't know what it's called now. Everybody knows it as Big Ben. Of course, Big Ben is actually the bell, not the tower itself, but it tends to be known as Big Ben. Anyway, as an aside, a weekend city something in London would be fantastic. So collocating with city, a weekend away in a top tourist destination, a city, is a city break to London, Paris, Amsterdam, or whatever. A city break. So a weekend city break in London would be fantastic. Number 2, the introduction of the new high-speed train cut the something time in half. Okay, so before perhaps it took 4 hours. Now it takes 2 hours. It cut the something in half. Well, from A to B, I don't know, from Barcelona to Madrid in Spain where I am, or whatever, or from London to Edinburgh. Journey time. Journey is A to B, not trip. Okay? Number 3. Darwin's something took him to the Galapagos Islands. That's, I think, off the coast of, can't remember if it's Venezuela or whatever. Anyway, Darwin's something took him to the Galapagos Islands, which helped him develop his theory of evolution. So we talk about long sea journeys historically in the past. Nowadays, we don't make so many of these journeys with air travel and so on. But anyway, long journeys, usually by sea, are called voyages. So Darwin's voyage took him to the Galapagos Islands, which helped him develop his theory of evolution. You could use journey here, but voyage is better. Nowadays, we tend to use voyage, talk about voyages of discovery, perhaps with space travel and so on. Anyway, number 4. I prefer to something by train, as this means I can get some work done on my laptop. Okay, so the verb, the word of these which we use as a verb is, of course, travel. I prefer to travel by train, as this means I can get some work done on my laptop, on my computer. Number 5. I never get to see much of the places I visit when I go on a business something. Again, collocates with business, and also we're talking not just of A to B, but the time you spent in your destination, etc. The whole thing is a trip, a business trip. But we tend to say business trip anyway. This is the collocation, the words that go together. Okay, and number 6, finally, it is said that something broadens the mind, and I couldn't agree more. But when we talk in general terms, not about a specific A to B or a specific trip, we use the word travel. Travel broadens the mind. It makes us more culturally aware, more sophisticated, etc. Okay, moving on. Still on the subject of travel, this time some travel idioms. So you've got cart, gear, light, mile, track, and wheel. So again, we looked at these in lesson 47. You've got a picture of a famous tennis player there, Rafael Nadal. And it says he'll really need to step up at something in training if he wants to win the Wimbledon title. So this means he'll have to work harder, improve, get better, step up a gear. Step up a gear. A gear is what you use in your car from first to second, third, fourth, and so on. So the idiom means to get better, to improve, to work harder, and so on. Step up a gear. Number 2, I feel like a bit of a fifth something here. Is there anything I can do to help? Well, most vehicles only require 4 of these. And if you're a fifth one, you're a bit surplus to requirements. You're a bit useless, really. We don't really need you. You're a bit of a fifth wheel. If you feel like a fifth wheel, you feel like you're not contributing or helping in any way. Number 3, that teacher talks something a minute. Very, very, very fast. I can't keep up with her at all. I can't follow what she's saying. She talks too fast. She talks a mile a minute. A mile a minute. Number 4. Don't you think you're putting... Sorry, that should be you are, not you. The you. Here's a little mistake. It should be you apostrophe R-E. I beg your pardon for that. Don't you think you're putting this something before the horse, buying a new suit before you've even been invited to the wedding? So if you do things the wrong way around, in a logical order, then you put the cart before the horse. Yes, you did the wrong thing first. You should have done it in a different order. Okay, you should have been waited for the invite and then spent a lot of money on the new suit that you might not need if you don't go. Okay, number 5. I advise you to travel something. You don't want to have to carry a lot of luggage around with you. So if you want to travel with very little luggage, only the bare essentials, what you really, really absolutely need, you travel light. Travel light. And lastly, our accommodation was really off the beaten something, far away from the usual tourist haunts. Tourist haunts are the places that the tourists all go to, the typical places they go to. So you're off the beaten something. It means you don't, you're not in the middle of all the place where all the tourists and everybody else is. It's off the beaten track. Off the beaten track. Okay, and again, still on travel, look at some verbs and verb phrases. So here we've got prepositions, particles, etc., and adverbs. After walking for hours around the old town, we eventually could chill something in the bar, meaning to relax. Is it chill away, chill off, chill on, chill out, chill around, or chill up? And nowadays this is a very popular word. Even in other languages, they're starting to use it. Chill out, to chill out, meaning to relax. Or just, you can actually just say to chill these days. And in fact, they've even invented a word, chillaxing, combining chill out and relaxing, chillaxing. The language keeps developing all the time. Okay, next one. Every time we go something holiday, we always pack too many clothes. Expression is go on holiday. Go on holiday. Number 3. We hope you enjoy your trip to Athens and find time to soak something, the amazing culture. To absorb, to take it all in, to soak up the amazing culture. Athens, of course, the capital of Greece, with the Parthenon and all sorts of ancient monuments, etc. Okay, number 4. What time would you like to set something in the morning? Meaning start your journey. Is it set away, set off, or set around? And of course it's set off. start a journey is to set off in the morning. Number 5, I really need to get something from it all and book a holiday. Means to go away, leave all my cares, all my problems, or my troubles, and just go off on holiday, is to get away from it all. I need to get away from it all. And lastly, on this, when in Venice, have a wander something, Piazza San Marco. It's the big square in the center of Venice, next to the Grand Canal, etc. And the expression is wander round Piazza San Marco. Okay, and finally on travel, we want to look at some language to describe the places that we visit. So here we go. We've got bustling, deserted, picturesque, remote, tacky, and unspoilt. So this is one of the few something beaches you can find, just sea, sand, and nature, and not a hotel to be found. So if there's no development, if it's still the way it was for hundreds of years, untouched, the word is unspoilt. Number 2, when we arrived at our destination, there was not a soul to be seen. That was, we couldn't see anybody, not a soul to be seen. It was completely, so which word means there was nobody there? And the answer is, of course, deserted. Number 3, the cottage where we stayed. Cottage is a little beautiful, pretty little house, traditional house in the country, in the UK, made of usually stone built, often with a thatched roof. Thatched is like made of straw, dried grass, and so on. So the cottage where we stayed was in a charming something village, meaning very beautiful, which looked just like the lid of a chocolate box. Typically, chocolate boxes have this beautiful picture of a lovely scene. And the answer is picturesque, very pretty, beautiful, almost like a postcard. Number 4 was a very something island far removed from the mainland. So if it's far removed, difficult to get to, cut off from the rest of civilization, if you like, the answer is remote island. Number 5, the souk in Marrakesh, that's the market, is lively and something with tourists. There's lots of movement, lots of people, etc. It's bustling with tourists, bustling. And finally on this, I'm sorry that I didn't bring you anything back, but they were only cheap, really cheap. The word which means not very nice, cheap, plastic or whatever, tacky plastic souvenirs. Okay, and finally, lesson 49, we looked at food preparation and cooking. So first of all, with food prep, we've got these verbs here: dice, mix, sprinkle, roll, and whisk. And we'll be working in her kitchen. Something the carrots and potatoes into small cubes and add to the stock. So we mean to chop into sort of squares, little cubes, and then add to stock. Stock is the liquid we use as the base of many dishes, from vegetables, chicken, or meat. So the answer is, to cut into small cubes is to dice the carrots and potatoes. Number 2, some chopped parsley onto the dish, so on the top, and serve. It's this action here. And of course the answer is sprinkle some chopped parsley onto the dish and serve. Number 3, in a large bowl, combine the ingredients together with a wooden spoon. The verb is mix. Mix the ingredients together with a wooden spoon. Number 4, lay the pastry on the surface. I don't know why it's got a capital letter there. There's another typo, I'm sorry. And gently roll it out. Roll it out. Roll it out. And then, very quickly, the egg whites, the white of the egg, you separate the yellow bit, which is the yolk, and the white to make things like meringues. You whisk the egg whites until stiff. Okay, moving on, some adjectives to describe methods of cooking. Okay, and we've got a selection here: boiled, deep fried, melted, poached, and roast. So once the cheese has something, add a little Worcester sauce. I know it looks like Worcester, but it's pronounced Worcester. Worcester is a town in England. There's also a county, Worcestershire, and there's a very famous sauce, which is a little bit spicy, not very much, and it's often served with things like cheese on toast. So once the cheese has melted, you've applied heat and it's made it soft, it's melted, add a little Worcester sauce and serve. Number 2, for Sunday lunch, British people love something beef and all the trimmings. All the trimmings means the accompanying vegetables, so potatoes, broccoli, carrots, some gravy to pour on it, and so on. All the trimmings, all the extras. So something beef cooked in the oven. So we cook meat in the oven. We use use the adjective roast to describe it, and the verb also is to roast. So roast beef, cooked in the oven. Number 3, I love fish, something in batter with chips. So if it's cooked in batter, with the oil or the fat covering all the fish, we call this deep fried. Deep fried. Number 4, drain, that means remove the water, the something potatoes thoroughly, and then add a knob of butter and chopped parsley. Okay, so if you drain the water, the potatoes must have been cooked in water. So which method here involves cooking in water? Of course, boiled potatoes. You can, of course, roast potatoes in the oven as well, but here it's boiled because we drained water, so it must have been cooked in water. Boiled potatoes. Number 5, as a healthy alternative to fried eggs, why not try them something instead? Simply crack the eggs, open the eggs into a cup and simmer them for a minute or so in the saucepan with the water. So if we cook the eggs in water instead of frying them, they are, of course, we remove the shell and we just pour them into the water directly. It's poached eggs. Okay. Cooking utensils now, the tools that we use to cook, we call them utensils. So we've got chopping board, baking tray, colander, mixer, and saucepan. So again, drain, remember, meaning remove the water. Drain the spaghetti in a something and then return to the pan. Add the sauce and stir. So which of these utensils do we use, or these receptacles do we use to remove the water is, of course, the colander. The colander, it's the metal or plastic thing with lots of holes to let the water drain out. Colander. Number 2, gently warm the milk in a saucepan. A saucepan. A little pot with a handle. Saucepan. Number 3, place the cookies or biscuits on a something and put in the oven at 200 degrees. It's of course a baking tray. Baking tray is the tray that we use to cook things in the oven. Add the flour, eggs and milk to the bowl and switch on the machine we use to combine all the ingredients together like this is a mixer. And number 5, place the potatoes on a something and dice them. So the thing that we put on a worktop that we use for chopping and cutting is a chopping board. Okay, so that's the end of this review lesson. Next lesson, lesson 51, is on a grammar area, which is distancing. This is where we use, for example, past tenses, etc., for all sorts of different reasons. I'm not going to explain it too much now because I hope that I'll whet your appetite for the lesson itself. So it's on the grammar area of distancing. Please do tune in to the next lesson, and I hope that you found today's review lesson useful to refresh your memory of all the language points we've covered over the last few lessons. Okay, thanks for listening as always, and take care. Bye-bye for now.